Joseph lived in a time when all the nations of the earth became hungry. They were starved for food, and they came to Egypt to eat Joseph's bread. And of course, this teaches us about Christ who feeds us, where this physical hunger is correlated to or points to spiritual hunger. Others have pointed this out, that our appetites or our desires are something that point us in the directions of good things. Of course, we can try to feed ourselves with things that aren't good, but a man's desire for food can be satisfied because a thing such as food exists. He can slake his thirst because such a thing as drink exists. He can satisfy his desire for intimacy because that exists and in its proper form in marriage. It's something that you can satisfy. Everything that we have a desire for, in other words, has a corresponding reality to feed it. And Lewis famously said, if I find in myself a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, I have to conclude that I've been made for another world. And what he means by that is that desire for God. And if you have that desire for God, God can meet that desire. He gives him himself. He gives him his word. He gives us his word. He gives us his sacrifice. He gives us these sacramental tokens of his body and blood for us. And so these things exist in a way which culminate in our hunger for God. It's a kind of God hunger. All hunger is pointing to a kind of God hunger, and God feeds us with himself. All the nations came to Egypt to eat from the one sent by God to feed them. And this anticipated the greater manifestation of this, which King David in his Psalms prophesies when he says, all the nations you have made shall come and worship before you, O Lord, and shall glorify your name. I had omitted Augustine's prayer from this exhortation, but it was in the collect at the beginning, that we are made for yourself and our hearts are restless until they find rest in you, that our hunger is met in Christ. And this feeding is something that Jesus talks about in its fullest fulfillment of Genesis 41, when he says, many from the east and the west and the north and the south will come and recline at Abraham's table with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And that's what this is. This is, in some ways, also a preliminary to the final marriage supper, the final table of Abraham. But this is a taste of that. This is that. So come and welcome to Jesus Christ.